which is the power of language, talking about dyspraxia respectfully. Now, the premise here is that words matter, because the way we talk about dyspraxia and neurodivergence more broadly, this shapes how individuals are seen, how they see themselves, and how the world responds to their needs, and how the world responds to their strengths. So when speaking about neurodivergent identities, you'll notice two common styles, and the question would be, what are those two common styles? So we have identity first language, and then we have person first language. What does this all mean? Let's give some examples. Let's first define identity first language in some type of context. So identity first language puts the condition before the person. Autistic person like Maya. Dyslexic person like Jacob. ADHD individual like Leo. Dyspraxic person like Aisha. I think you may get the picture. But what's person first language? So person first language puts the person before the condition. Let's give an example. So a person with autism. Maya, a person with autism. A person with dyslexia. Jacob, a person with dyslexia. A person with ADHD. Leo, a person with ADHD. A person with dyspraxia. Aisha, a person with dyspraxia. So some people feel strongly about which language is used to describe them. Identity first language is often preferred by individuals who see their neurodivergence as some integral part of who they are, not something separate and not something negative. So for example, many in the autistic community prefer autistic person. Why? Why do they prefer autistic person? Because autism is the core to how they experience and understand the world. Similarly, some people with dyspraxia embrace the term dyspraxic person because it feels more affirming and it feels more authentic. So others prefer person first language because it emphasizes humanity. So there's some variation here, but I think it's important to have the awareness of what it means. What does it mean to be, what does it mean to be identity first language or person first language? And then the next question is which one to implement appropriately. But what is empowering language for people with dyspraxia? That sounds like a good question. Well, first, what should precede that question is, what does empowerment actually mean? Because that is a statement, or that is a word, the word being empowerment, that's thrown around but is rarely defined. So here's a standard definition. Empowerment is the process of gaining confidence, control, and the ability to make choices that affects one's life. It involves building self-esteem, accessing resources or opportunities, and having a voice in decisions. So empowerment can apply to individuals or communities and often includes developing skills, rights awareness, and a sense of autonomy. Ultimately, it's about enabling people to take charge of their lives and reach their full potential. So empowering language for people with dyspraxia focuses on strengths, not limitations. It avoids labels like clumsy or disordered and instead acknowledges challenges while highlighting abilities and highlighting progress. Using respectful person-first language, like a person with dyspraxia, supports dignity and it supports self-worth. Empowering language promotes understanding. It emphasizes individuality and it encourages confidence, helping others see beyond difficulties to the unique talents and resilience of people living with dyspraxia, which is dyspraxia versus ADHD versus autism. What are the key differences? So we're going to get figurative again. So imagine a garden with three distinct but intertwined vines: dyspraxia, ADHD, and autism. They grow together, but they are not the same plant. Let me repeat that. They grow together, but they are not the same plant. So dyspraxia primarily affects coordination and motor planning. ADHD affects attention regulation, impulsivity, and hyperactivity. Autism involves social communication difficulties, sensory sensitivities, and restricted or repetitive behaviors. They often coexist, and this makes the diagnosis complex. So a child with ADHD might appear disorganized due to inattention, while a child with dyspraxia might be disorganized because it takes them longer to plan and execute tasks. An autistic child might avoid eye contact due to sensory discomfort, while a dyspraxic child may avoid it because they're focusing on not dropping their cup. We can see this distinction. So the key here is in the why. Dyspraxia is about physical coordination and planning, while ADHD is about regulating mental focus, and autism is about processing social and sensory information. While overlaps exist, clearly, they each have their own unique profiles, and misdiagnosis is common when these differences aren't well understood. Think of it this way. ADHD is the engine revving too fast. Autism is the dashboard rewired. And dyspraxia is the GPS rerouting mid-turn. All of these need different types of fuel. And I sincerely hope that you understand that there are differences between these natural variations. But let's give a quick visual example to emphasize the point more thoroughly. So Jack, let's take Jack, our common fictional character. Jack has dyspraxia and may take more time to learn physical tasks, but shows great determination and creativity. While Sally has ADHD, but she may struggle and focus at times, but brings high energy and innovative thinking. And then there's John. John has autism, and he prefers routines and finds social situations challenging, but has strong attention and detail and unique problem-solving skills. So hopefully this visual example can paint a clearer picture of the differences between these variations.